People say a kiss is just a moment. I used to believe it was a promise. Every time someone kissed me, I imagined a future. I imagined growing old together, laughing through hard days, and holding each other's hands no matter what happened. Maybe that made me naive. Maybe I simply loved too deeply. Looking back now, I know I wasn't unlucky just once. I was broken 4 different times. The first woman was Lily. I still remember the evening we sat outside our favorite coffee shop. She looked nervous. I smiled and asked, "What's wrong?" "You've been quiet all day." She avoided my eyes. "Ethan, I need to tell you something." My heart tightened. "You can tell me anything." She took a slow breath. "I met someone else." For a second, I thought I had heard her wrong. "What do you mean?" "He can give me the life I've always wanted." LifeHer. I thought we were building that life together. She whispered, "You're a good man." That's not an answer. She looked down. "I don't love you the way I used to." Those words felt heavier than anything I had ever carried. "So this is goodbye?" She nodded. "I am sorry." "No," I said quietly. "You're sorry you had to tell me. You're not sorry you're leaving." Tears filled her eyes, but she still stood up. Before walking away, she leaned forward and kissed me. "I hope one day you'll understand." I didn't answer. I watched her get into a luxury car waiting across the street. She never looked back. That night, I kept touching my lips, wondering how the warmest kiss of my life had become the coldest goodbye. For weeks, I blamed myself. Was I not successful enough? Did I love too much? Could I have changed something? No answer ever came. Slowly, I forced myself to move on. I promised myself I would never trust so easily again. But life had another lesson waiting for me. Thought I had learned my lesson. After Lily and Ava, I told myself I would never trust another promise. Then I met Sophia. She was confident, successful, and loved by millions online. Being with her felt exciting. She made me laugh again, and for the first time in a long while, I felt alive. One afternoon, she smiled at me and said, "Come here, Ethan. My followers want to meet you." I laughed. "Are you sure?" "Of course," she replied. "They already love you." She pulled me close and kissed me during her live stream. Thousands of comments flooded the screen, calling us the perfect couple. For a moment, I believed every word. Later that night, I returned with coffee and heard Sophia talking to her manager. "He has no idea," she said with a laugh. "He's great for engagement," the manager replied. My heart sank. I walked into the room. Sophia froze. "Ethan, I can explain." I looked into her eyes and quietly asked, "Was any of it real?" Silence answered my question. I turned around and walked away, realizing that another kiss had become another lie. I never thought I would trust anyone again. After so many broken promises, I built walls around my heart. Then I met Chloe. She wasn't loud. She wasn't chasing attention. She listened when I spoke. One evening we sat together in a quiet cafe. She smiled and asked, "Why do you always look like you're carrying the weight of the world?" I laughed softly. "Maybe because I am." She leaned forward. "You don't have to tell me everything today." I looked into her eyes. "You don't want to know about my past?" She shook her head. "I want to know the man sitting in front of me." For the first time in years, I felt understood. Days turned into weeks. We walked through parks, shared long conversations, and laughed about little things that didn't matter. Every moment with her made the pain feel smaller. One morning she looked at me and smiled. "I have to visit my family today." I nodded. "When will you be back?" "Tonight." I reached for her hand. "I'll be waiting." She squeezed my hand gently. "I know you will." Before leaving, she stepped closer and kissed me. It wasn't a dramatic kiss. It wasn't meant for cameras. It felt quiet, honest, real. As I watched her walk away, I whispered to myself, maybe this is what love was supposed to feel like. I had no idea that before the sun went down, everything I believed would be shattered once again. Rain covered the windshield so heavily that I could barely see the road ahead. I tightened my hands around the steering wheel and whispered, how many times can one heart break before it stops feeling anything? The question echoed inside my mind. Every goodbye came back to me. Every promise. Every kiss. I could still hear their voices. I'll always be here. You deserve better. Trust me. None of those words had survived. My phone lit up on the passenger seat. For a second, I looked toward the screen. A new photo filled the display. I froze. The first sound I heard was a slow, steady beep. For a moment, I thought I was dreaming. Then pain rushed through my body like fire. I tried to move my hand, but even that felt impossible. I slowly opened my eyes. Bright white lights hung above me. The room smelled like medicine. My throat felt dry. "W, where am I?" I whispered. A gentle voice answered before I could panic. "You're awake." I turned my head as much as I could. A young nurse stood beside my bed with a warm smile. She adjusted the blanket over my shoulder. "My name is Emily," she said softly. "You're in the intensive care unit." I stared at her, trying to remember. "The accident." She nodded. "Yes. I survived." "You did." I closed my eyes again. I wasn't sure whether I should feel grateful or disappointed. Emily checked the monitor beside my bed. "Don't try to talk too much yet. I don't even know how long I've been here." "4 days." "4 days." "You were unconscious the whole time." I let out a slow breath. 4 days had disappeared from my life. The last thing I remembered was rain, bright headlights, and the sound of crashing metal. Everything after that was empty. I thought. I said quietly. Emily looked at me. I thought my story had ended. She smiled kindly. "Maybe it hasn't. What if I don't want another chapter?" She stayed silent for a second before answering. "Sometimes life writes better chapters after the hardest ones." I gave a weak laugh. "That sounds like something from a movie." She laughed too. "Maybe, but I've seen people recover from things they thought would destroy them." "You don't know me." "No," she admitted. "Not yet." Her answer surprised me. She didn't pretend to understand my pain. She didn't tell me everything would magically be okay. She simply stood beside me. That strange honesty made the room feel a little less lonely. A doctor entered, checked my chart, and asked me a few questions. After he left, I opened my eyes to a ceiling filled with bright white lights. Every breath hurt. My chest felt heavy, and my arms refused to move. A steady beeping sound echoed beside me until a gentle voice broke through the silence. "Good morning," she said softly. "You're finally awake." I turned my head with great effort. A young nurse stood beside my bed, smiling warmly. "Where am I?" I whispered. "You're in the intensive care unit," she replied. "I've Emily." I swallowed painfully. "Did I survive?" She nodded. "Yes. The accident was serious, but you're still here." I closed my eyes again. Maybe I shouldn't have been. Emily stayed quiet for a moment before speaking. "I don't believe that. You don't even know me." "I know you're breathing," she answered. "Sometimes that's enough for a new beginning." I laughed weakly. "That's optimistic. I've seen miracles before." Days passed slowly. Emily always appeared during the quiet night shifts. "Pain level today?" she asked one evening. 8. She adjusted my pillow carefully. "Better?" "A little." "I'll take that as progress." "Why are you always smiling?" I asked. She shrugged. "Because someone has to. What if I don't deserve kindness?" She looked directly into my eyes. "Kindness isn't something people earn." Her words stayed with me long after she left the room. Another night, she helped me sit up. "I can't do it." I groaned. "Yes, you can. My body won't listen." "Then we'll teach it together." I managed to sit for only a few seconds before collapsing back. I failed. Emily smiled again. "No." "What do you mean?" "You tried." "That's different." For the first time since the accident, I felt something besides pain. Hope. The following afternoon, my brother Marcus walked into the room carrying a paper cup of coffee. "You look terrible," he joked. "I missed your encouragement." He laughed before pulling up a chair. "I've been worried." "I know." His eyes shifted toward The next evening, Emily walked into my room carrying a small notebook. "What's that?" I asked. "A progress journal," she replied. "Every small victory goes in here." I smiled faintly. "There won't be many pages." She pulled up a chair. "We'll see." She handed me a pen. "I can barely hold this." "Then hold it for 5 seconds." I wrapped my trembling fingers around the pen. 1, 2, 3. My hand shook violently. 4, 5. She clapped softly. "Congratulations." "For what?" "You completed today's challenge." That was nothing. It wasn't nothing. I looked at the notebook. What should I write? The truth. I slowly scribbled a few words. "I stayed alive today." Emily read them and smiled. "That's a good start." "You really think so?" Edo. Later that night, I asked, "Why did you become a nurse?" She rested against the window. My father spent months in a hospital before he died. I'm sorry. He always said the people who talked to him meant more than the medicine. So you wanted to become one of those people? She nodded. I can't save everyone, but you can make them feel less alone. Exactly. I stared at the ceiling. I used to think success was everything. And now I'd trade every achievement just to walk outside. You will. You sound certain. I am. The following morning, a physical therapist entered. Ready to stand? He asked. No. Emily folded her arms. That's not the answer. I sighed. Fine. I'll try. The therapist supported one side, while Emily held the other. Slowly, she whispered. Pain shot through my legs. I can't. You can. I'm falling. We've got you. I pushed harder until both feet touched the floor. There, Emily said proudly. You're standing. Only for a few seconds, but she was right. Marcus arrived just as I sat down. I heard you stood up. Barely. Still counts. He looked at Emily. Thanks for helping him. She smiled Polit. A cold rain tapped against the hospital window as Emily began checking my chart. Looks like someone is improving, she said. I'll believe it when I can walk without looking like a newborn deer. She laughed. That's a very specific comparison. I've seen enough videos. She shook her head with a smile. Today's goal is 10 steps. 10. Yes. I barely managed 5 yesterday. The next night felt unusually quiet. Emily walked into my room carrying 2 paper cups. I brought hot chocolate, she said. I laughed softly. Can ICU patients even have that? You can have a few sips. She handed me the cup carefully. This tastes better than hospital food. Everything tastes better than hospital food. We both laughed. After a moment, I asked, do you ever get tired of encouraging people? She thought for a second. Sometimes. Really, I'm human. What keeps you going? She smiled. The day someone smiles because they finally believe tomorrow is worth seeing. I lower my eyes. I spent years chasing promotions. Were you happy? I thought I was. And now? I can't remember the last time I actually enjoyed life. Emily leaned back. Maybe this accident didn't only break bones. What do you mean? Maybe it stopped a life that wasn't making you happy. I stayed silent. Her words felt impossible to ignore. A little later, the heart monitor beeped faster. You okay? She asked. I've been thinking about, what if I never recover? She placed a reassuring hand on my shoulder. Then we'll face that day when it comes. And if I do recover, then you'll decide what kind of life you want. I nodded slowly. The following afternoon, Marcus arrived carrying a small photo album. I found these at your apartment. He opened the first page. Remember this vacation? I smiled. I worked through half of it. Exactly. He turned another page. The next morning began with unexpected energy. Emily walked into my room carrying a folded sheet of paper. What's that? I asked. Your latest test results. I searched her face. Should I be worried? She smiled. You'll be transferred out of the intensive care unit tomorrow. I blinked twice. Really? Really? I didn't think I'd ever leave this room. You earned it. I laughed quietly. I couldn't have done it alone. She shook her head. You did the hard part. You never stopped believing in me. Because you never stopped trying. Later that afternoon, Marcus arrived with a relieved smile. I heard the news. I guess I'm getting promoted. From ICU to a regular room, he joked. I'll take it. He sat beside me. You look alive again. I finally feel alive. He nodded. I've missed this version of you. So have I. We spent an hour talking about childhood memories, old mistakes, and the future waiting outside the hospital walls. When Marcus left, Emily returned to remove one of my 4 lines. Does it hurt? She asked. Not as much as before. Good. I watched her work carefully. You've changed my life. She paused. I only reminded you that your life still belonged to you. I don't know how to thank you. You already have. Ow! You kept fighting. After she finished, she placed the medical tape aside. Tomorrow starts a new chapter. I hope I'm ready. You don't need to be perfect. I've spent years trying to be. Then stop. I smiled. That sounds difficult. It gets easier. The evening grew quiet. Outside, the sunset painted the sky with warm shades of orange and gold. Emily stood beside the window. Beautiful, isn't it? I almost forgot sunsets existed. You'll see many more. I looked at her. When I leave this hospital, I don't want to waste another day. Then don't. I want a life filled with real conversations. She smiled warmly. That's a wonderful place to begin. Several months passed, and every therapy session became a little easier because Emily never missed a single appointment. Ready for today's challenge? She asked. I'll complain first. That's expected. Then I'll succeed. That's also expected. I laughed as I reached for the parallel bars. Watch me prove you wrong. I'd love to see you try. I took careful steps forward. Better? She asked. Much. You didn't stop once. I almost did, but you didn't. Her smile made every painful exercise feel worthwhile. After therapy, we sat outside the rehabilitation center. You remembered I like coffee without sugar, I said. You told me during your second week in hospital. You remember that? I remember everything. I smiled. That's impressive. It's important. Why? Because people deserve to feel heard. Her answer warmed my heart. Weeks later, my doctor finally smiled. You're officially discharged. I looked at Emily. I guess you don't have to put up with me anymore. She laughed. Who said that? So, would you have dinner with me? I was hoping you'd ask. Our first date felt effortless. You clean up nicely, she teased. I've been practicing. For this. For someone worth impressing. She lowered her eyes, smiling. I've never met anyone like you. I was about to say the same thing. We spent hours talking. She told me stories about losing both of her parents while she was still young. I thought I'd never smile again, she admitted. I'm sorry. It made me stronger. It definitely did. She reached across the table and squeezed my hand. We both survived different storms. I think we found each other afterward. I think so too. A month later, she looked at me thoughtfully. So, are we officially together? I thought we already were. I wanted to hear you say it. I smiled. Yes. She hugged me tightly. Good. When I told my friends, they couldn't stop smiling. A few weeks into our relationship, I started noticing how naturally Emily fit into every part of my life. Did you eat lunch? She asked over the phone. I was just about to. No, you were about to forget. I laughed. You know me too well. I plan to keep knowing you even better. That answer made me smile all afternoon. Whenever I misplaced my keys or forgot an appointment, Emily already had the solution. I moved your keys beside the front door, she said one evening. You saved me again. I like taking care of you. I don't know what I'd do without you. She kissed my cheek. You'll never have to find out. Marcus visited that weekend. You look happy, he said. I am. I'm glad. Emily brought us coffee before sitting beside me. I remembered Marcus likes extra cream. Marcus raised an eyebrow. You remember that? You mentioned it once. He smiled politely. Thanks. After he left, Emily wrapped her arms around me. I like your brother. So do I. She hesitated. I just wish he didn't need so much of your time. I frowned. It was only an afternoon. I know. You sound upset. I'm not upset. Then what is it? I missed you. Her answer seemed sweet, so I hugged her. You'll always have plenty of my time. She smiled. Promise? I promise. A few days later, I searched the following week, Emily arrived at my apartment carrying groceries. I bought your favorites, she said. You didn't have to. I wanted to. I smiled as I helped unpack the bags. You remember everything. I remember what matters. While I cooked dinner, my phone buzzed on the counter. Aren't you going to answer that? She asked. I'll check it later. She glanced at the screen. It's another message from work. It can wait. She looked relieved. I'm happy you're slowing down. So am I. We ate together, laughing about small mistakes I had made during rehabilitation. You almost argued with the physical therapist, she teased. He deserved it. He told you to lift your left leg. I lifted the right one. You were impossible. I was charming. She laughed so hard she nearly spilled her drink. Later that evening, Marcus called again. Hey, I answered. Are you free Saturday? I think so. Emily quietly looked toward me. We're planning a family barbecue. Marcus continued. I'd love to come. Great. I'll text you the details. After I ended the call, Emily folded her arms. You didn't tell me about that. I just found out. We were supposed to spend Saturday together. We still can after the barbecue. Her smile disappeared. I thought I came first. You do. Then why does everyone else keep taking your time? They're my family. I know. Her voice softened. I just miss you whenever you're gone. I wrapped my arms around her. I'm only gone for a few hours. I can't help it. I kissed her forehead. It's okay. She relaxed against me. The next morning, I searched for another contact. That's odd. What happened? Emily asked. My cousin's number disappeared. She looked surprised. Maybe your phone updated. Maybe. She picked up my phone. You really should delete people who only bring stress. I guess there are a few. I can help organize everything. Thanks. She handed the P. Saturday arrived, and Emily insisted on making breakfast before I left. Just one more pancake, she said. I'll be late. Marcus can wait 5 minutes. I smiled. You're impossible. And you still like me. Eat dough. She kissed my cheek. Then eat. By the time I reached the barbecue, Marcus was already setting food on the table. There you are, he said. You've been saying that a lot lately. I got delayed. He looked at me carefully. By Emily? I shrugged. We were having breakfast. Marcus nodded without smiling. Can we talk? Sure. We walked away from everyone else. You're changing. I've changed since the accident. That's not what I mean. What do you mean? You cancel plans more often. I'm Busse. You never used to ask permission before making decisions. I'm not asking permission. It sounds like you are. I folded my arms. You're overthinking this. Marcus sighed. I hope I am. We returned to the others, but his words stayed in my mind. That evening, I told Emily about our conversation. What exactly did Marcus say? She asked. He thinks I'm changing. She looked hurt. So he blames me. He didn't say that. He didn't have to. I reached for her hand. You're reading too much into it. She pulled away. Maybe your brother never wanted us together. Emily. What? He cares about me. And I don't. I didn't say that. Tears filled her eyes. I've done everything I can to help you heal. I know. I stayed beside you when you couldn't even walk. I remember. And now your own brother thinks I'm the problem. I stepped closer. Please don't cry. I'm trying not to. I hug her tightly. Marcus doesn't understand us. She buried her face against my shoulder. I only want what's best for you. I believe you. She looked up at me. Promise you'll never let anyone come between us. I promise. Her expression finally softened. Thank you. Later that end. The following week, Emily arrived at my apartment carrying a small box. I have something for you, she said. I smiled. You didn't have to buy me anything. It's not expensive. Then what is it? Open it. Inside was a simple silver keychain with our initials engraved together. I thought you'd carry it every day, she said. I will. She smiled with relief. Good. I clipped it onto my keys immediately. Happy. Very. Later that evening, my phone buzzed several times. Marcus had sent 3 messages. Are you going to answer him? Emily asked. I will after dinner. She looked down at the table. You always answer him. He's my brother. I know. You sound upset again. I'm trying not to be. I reached for her hand. Talk to me. She took a deep breath. I just wish I didn't have to compete for your attention. You're not competing. It feels that way. I shook my head. You mean everything to me. Then prove it. Ow. She looked into my eyes. Put us first. I already do. She remained silent. After dinner, I finally checked my phone. Marcus had written, call me when you're alone. Emily noticed the message. Why does it say alone? I don't know. That feels strange. He's probably worried. About me? I doubt it. She lowered her voice. I've never tried to take you away from anyone. I know. I only want to protect what we have.